guys, welcome back to the Octagon Channel. As always, we'll be bringing you the biggest news from the fight world. Tune in and enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with all the latest, and here we are. Tom Aspinall has provided an update of sorts to his ongoing rivalry with Jon Jones, and it's not going to make fans any happier. According to the UFC interim heavyweight champion, #1 in the division, the MMA Fighting Global Rankings, he's done everything he can publicly and privately to let the UFC know he wants to unify the belts with Jones, the promotion's undisputed title holder. Since defending his title against Stipe Miocic at UFC 309 this past November, Jones has entertained the possibility of a super fight with light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira, while dismissing Aspinall as a worthy challenger. UFC CEO Dana White has been bullish on making Jones versus Aspinall happen, but nothing is official, and it seems unlikely the fight will be announced anytime soon. UFC 313 has a late addition to the lineup. Multiple people with knowledge of the promotion's plans confirmed to MMA Fighting that a matchup between Chris Gutierrez and John Castaneda is set for Saturday's pay-per-view card at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Eurosport was first to report the booking. Due to the short-notice nature of the bout, the fight will take place at 145 pounds. Gutierrez was scheduled to face John Matsumoto on the card, but Matsumoto was moved to UFC Seattle, where he lost a close decision to Rob Font in the featured bout. El Guapo is 9-1 in his past 12 fights, and looks to climb back into the bantamweight rankings following a win over Kwang Le at UFC Vegas 95 this past August. Castaneda was slated to compete at this past Saturday's UFC Vegas 103 event, but his opponent Douglas Silva de Andrade wasn't medically clear. Sexy Mexi attempts to bounce back following a decision loss to Daniel Marcos in June. UFC 313 is headlined by a light heavyweight title fight between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. Joe Rogan is back on the call for UFC 313 on Saturday after skipping out on UFC 312 in Australia. The veteran color commentator, comedian, and podcast magnate doesn't travel outside of North America to call fights, so the UFC always shuffles the deck for international shows. With UFC 313 taking place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Rogan is back on the call like usual. He'll be joined by the usual suspects in the booth, with John Anik providing play-by-play and UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier also providing commentary. Megan Olivia is set to serve as the in-house reporter during the event, with Din Thomas providing coaching commentary throughout the broadcast. The UFC's return to Montreal has added a pair of new contests. The promotion announced 2 light heavyweight contests for UFC 315, including a battle between recent UFC Seattle winners Modestas Bukauskas and Ion Cutelaba, as well as Contender Series standout Navajo Sterling facing Ivan Erslan on Monday. UFC 315 takes place May 12th at Bell Center, the home of NHL's Montreal Canadiens. Bukauskas and Cutelaba didn't waste time putting pen to paper on their next bouts. Both picked up first-round stoppages this past month at the UFC's Fight Night card in Seattle, with the former Cage Warriors champ opening the event with a knockout of Rafael Cerqueira, while Cutelaba picked up a rare submission win against Ibo Aslan. Sterling makes his sophomore Octagon appearance after earning a UFC contract with a knockout win this past September. The city kickboxing standout won his Octagon debut with a unanimous decision against Tuco Tokos at UFC Tampa in December. Erslan lost his UFC debut, dropping a split decision to Cutelaba at UFC Paris this past September. UFC 315 is headlined by Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title, while Valentina Shevchenko defends her flyweight belt against Manon Fiorot in the co-main event. PFL star Francis Ngannou is expected to return to boxing next, fueling speculation of a long-discussed clash with Deontay Wilder. Ngannou's transition from MMA to professional boxing has generated significant attention. It's not often that you see a top fighter in the UFC move into boxing in his prime. Ngannou, known for his incredible punching power in the UFC, had long been interested in boxing. He made his debut in the ring against Tyson Fury in October 2023. This was a very high-profile fight, and Ngannou surprised many by putting on a very good performance and even knocking Fury down. After losing via a controversial split decision, the Cameroonian then faced Anthony Joshua last March, falling to defeat by second-round knockout. Now, he's looking ahead. During an interview with SpaceportSweden.com, Deontay Wilder's coach, Malik Scott, spoke about the potential fight between the two heavyweights.
I haven't seen Ngannou work enough with 10-ounce gloves on in a boxing ring. Is he a big, strong, heavy-handed guy? Yes, but with Deontay's power is blessed because he gets to the target so fast. He puts his hip through you. He puts his shoulder through. It's just so many different dynamics with the way Deontay has always knocked guys out. He has a long resume of knocking guys out cold. That didn't happen overnight. I haven't seen Francis Ngannou enough in a boxing ring to think his power comes close to Deontay Wilder's. I just haven't.
Interestingly, Fury has previously shared the same sentiment, telling reporter Charlie Parsons that the Bronze Bomber had more power in his punches than the Predator.
Francis Ngannou and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Who hit harder?
Deontay, by far. Francis Ngannou is a big puncher, but I wasn't really troubled by any of his punches. It wasn't like, oh, he was dynamite. Every time he hit me, I was wobbled or anything. No, just one shot up the back of the head, and that was it. So Wilder is still the biggest puncher I've ever been in the ring with by a mile.
Light heavyweight contender and former WBC champ Oleksandr Gvozdyk, who gave David Benavidez a pretty tough time of things in his last fight, this back in June, wants back in at top level. The Ukrainian, who is currently 20-216, the other loss coming against Artur Beterbiev, who managed to stop him when Benavidez didn't, says he would very much like a fight with British warrior Callum Smith. Gvozdyk spoke with The Ring, and he said he wants to fight the best guys out there. And while return fights with either Beterbiev or Benavidez look unlikely, maybe new WBC interim champ Smith will look Gvozdyk's way. Gvozdyk will return to action in a tune-up bout versus TBA on April 19th. After that, the Nail wants a big fight.
I want to fight the best guys out there. Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev are probably not available because they are targeting a third fight. Now we have Callum Smith, who became an interim champion. Smith versus Boatsi was a perfect matchup. Both guys showed a good fight to the fans. I'm ready and I'm here. I can compete at that same level, and I would like to fight Callum Smith. This could be a dream fight, and I would like to have it. That would be perfect.